forehead,
I offer my respectful obeisances to you.
Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the personality of Lord Narayana, unto the Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Nava Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Sri Vyasadeva, the author.
Nashtaprayeshu Bhagaveshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamaśloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshri.
By the directing classes of Bhagavatam and by the influences of your devotees, all the troubles of the Lord is almost completely destroyed, and loving services unto the personality of God, whose praise with transcendent songs is established as a reward of God. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in dark pit of ignorance, and my affliction has opened my eyes with the light of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 23. The Sacimata planetary systems. Text to be recited is verse number 2. Let's do that and come back to this number. Shri Shukavacha
Shri Shukavacha.
Ata Tasmat Paras.
Mataji, 5:23, 2, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Here. Text 2. Sahi Sarvesham Jyotignanam Grahanakshat. Want to repeat?
We can go with any way, like if you.
I will recite once and then we will go according to
Sure.
Sahi Sarvesham Jyotirgananam Grahanakshatradinam Aninesham Yakta Ramhasa Bhagavata Kalena Brahmyamanam Samud Ivavastambha Ishwarena Vihita Saswat Abhavasate. Repeat please.
Sai Sarvesham Jyotirjnanam Brahma Nakshatradinam Animishayata Brahmasa Bhagavata Kalinam Brahmayaman Sthanor Ivasastamba Ishwarena Vidita Saswat Vivasate.
Saha.
Saha.
That planet of Dhruva Maharaj.
He indeed, Sarvesham of all, Jyoti Grahanam, the luminaries, Nakshatra, such as planets and stars, Animisena, who does not rest, Avyakta, inconceivable, Ramasa, whose force, Bhagavata, the most powerful, Kalina, by the time factor, Ramayana, being caused by God, Sarina, like a host, Vivastambha, the pivot, Ishwarina, by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nitida, established, Shashvat, constantly, Avavasate, shines.
Translations as of Prabhupada. Established by the supreme will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pole star, which is the planet of Maharaj, constantly shines as the central pivot for all the stars and planets. The unsleeping, invisible, most powerful time factor causes all memories to revolve around the pole star without cessation. It is distinctly stated here that the luminaries, the planets and stars revolve with the influence of the supreme time factor. The time factor is another feature of the supreme personality of Godhead. Everyone is under the influence of the time factor, but the supreme personality of Godhead is so kind and loves his devotee Maharaj Dhruva so much that he has placed all the luminaries under the control of Dhruva's planet and has arranged for the time factor actor to work under him or with his cooperation. Everything is actually done according to the will and direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But to make this devotee Dhruva the most important individual within the universe, the Lord has placed the activities of the time factor under his control. So every day we are reading one chapter of this part of Bhagavatam, isn't it?
Yes.
This is a mostly technical subject matter. It's important, but it is technical. So let's see from what portion of Bhagavatam subjects is covered. Bhagavatam has got how many subjects? Broadly, anybody say? 10 subjects. What are they? There's a verse, 2:10:1. You may want to refer that, but it says, Shri Shukha Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utayaha manvantareshan kata nirodho muktirashraya. There are 10 topics of Bhagavatam. Sarga.
Visarga.
Sarga is
Creation. Visarga. Secondary
creation. Sthanam. Planetary systems. Poshanam. Protection by the Lord. Utaha. Creative abilities. Manvantara, the change of manus, Ishanukata, the science of God, Nirodha, dissolution, Mukti, liberation, Ashraya, the ultimate shelter, which is some of the Lord's supreme Lord. So these are 10 topics broadly covered by various cantos. It's not in sequence, it is various. But first two cantos cover Sarga and Visarga. Now we are in the 5th chapter, which talks about couple of things. Two main broad classifications is Maharaj Priyavata's dynasty, as well as the second half of 5th canto, 16 to the end, is the star, planetary systems, which is very important from where we are. From a relative position of where we stand. We are in Bharatavarsha, Bharatakanda, North America continent, Canada, Toronto, 243 Europe. From that perspective, it makes sense, it is very relevant for us in the overall situation of the planetary systems. However, when compared to the supreme absolute truth, we'll see how important that becomes for a devotee who's practicing devotional service. Okay, so we read this chapter, we want to cover the rest of the verses also just to get a context.
You can give the summary instead of
There are only 9, we can read the translations also. So a very high level category of this chapter is after speaking the lineage of Priyavata Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami is speaking about the planetary system. So you have covered various topics like the Jambudvipa, origin of the orbits, the movements of the sun, and various other things. Right? So right now we are in the Sishumara planetary system. So what is this Sishumara? So this talks about the various sections in this particular chapter are Dhruva Maharaj's glorification, the first 3. The verbs we learned about are Dhruva Maharaj. And what is the context why Dhruva Maharaj is coming, and we also see that. And the next 3, 4, 5 verses talk about the formation or the body or the description of the Sishumara planetary system. And the last is the prayer, what one can do and what is the result one obtains by doing this. So the first 3 verses talks about Dhruva Maharaj. So the pole star, which is famous, right? Everyone is aware of Dhruva Maharaj pole star. This is the star that Dhruva Maharaj has been awarded this planet by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Canto 4, we read that. Chapters 9, 10, 11, 12, like that we read. The Dhruva Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord. Previously he was not so. He had material desire to get a kingdom much bigger than his father, Uttanapada, and then his grandfather, Swayambhu, and then his great-grandfather, Lord Brahma himself. He wanted a planet like that. He had that desire, and he went to the forest to please the Lord, worship the Lord and please him. And Lord Vishnu appears to him and awards him. At that time, when Dhruva Maharaj gets the darshan of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj becomes ashamed of his feeling. He says that what I was thinking to get, Prabhupada says very nicely, he says, I was looking after pieces of glass, broken pieces of glass, whereas I have the diamond in front of me. Prabhupada says. So Dhruva Maharaj was feeling very ashamed of his thoughts, like what did I think of? I wanted a kingdom greater than my father, greater than my grandfather, and so on. When I have my Supreme Lord in front of me, I don't want anything. He says, I only want the association of your devotees and want to hear Krishna Katha in their association. This is the highest benediction one can have, to hear the Lord's Katha, Lord Supreme Personality of Lord Godhead's Katha in the association of devotees. Because they are the one who will encourage us, because they're like-minded devotees, right? So in their association, you can amplify your devotion services. So he wants that at the end, he says. But would Lord Hari leave him without giving him any benediction?
No.
No, he doesn't. He says, still, I'll give you whatever you want, I'll give you your kingdom, I'll give everything, I'll also give you whatever you asked. I'll give you what you are asking, your devotion service, however, I'll give you the kingdom you are asking for. Which is what? At the end of the life, you will also see in the 11th chapter, 12th chapter, when Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead in the Vaikuntha Vimana, he goes to this kingdom, this Vaikuntha planet called Polestar. Right? So that is the planet that is ever existing. It is without this, it will not be dissolved even after the dissolution. That's the award he wanted, because that should have something which is greater than Lord Brahma says, which should not be destroyed at the end of dissolution. Brahma lives for 100 years of his time, which is equivalent to 312 trillion human years. It's a very big number. So after that also it will not be dissolved. So that's the benediction. So Dhruva Maharaj, the same verse, so we read, if you can quickly read the translations alone, like taking chance, taking the sense. Translation 1.
Sukadeva Goswami continued, my new king,
1.3
million yojanas, 10,000 however, the palace of the seven sages is the place that learned scholars describe as the abode of Lord Vishnu. There the son of Maharaja Uttanapada, the great devotee of Maharaj Dhruv, still resides as the life source of all living entities who live until the end of the creation. Agni, Indra, Prajapati, Kashyapa, and Dharma all assembled there to offer him honor and respectful obeisances. They circumambulate him with their right sides towards him. I have already described the glorious activities of Maharaj Dhruva in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Established by the supreme will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pole star, which is the planet of Maharaj Dhruva, constantly shines as a central pivot for all the stars and planets. The unsleeping, invisible, most powerful time factor causes these luminaries to revolve around the pole star without cessation.
When balls are yoked together and tied to a central post to thresh rice, they thread around the pivot without deviating from their proper positions. One ball being closest to the post, another in the middle, and the third on the outside. Similarly, all the planets and all the hundreds and thousands of stars revolve around the pole star, the planet of Maharaj Dhruva, in their respective orbits, some higher and some lower. Fastened by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the machine of material nature, according to the results of their fruitive acts, they are driven around the pole star by the wind, and will continue to be so until the end of creation. These planets float in the air within the vast sky, just as clouds with hundreds of tons of water float in the air, or as the great Shiena eagles, due to the results of past activities, fly high in the sky and have no chance of falling to the ground.
Text 4. This great machine, consisting of the stars and planets, resembles the form of a Sacimata dolphin in the water. It is sometimes considered an incarnation of Krishna, Vasudeva. Great yogis meditate upon Vasudeva in this form because it is actually visible.
This form of the Shishumark has its head downwards and its body coiled. On the end of its tail is the planet of Dhruv. On the body of its tail are the planets of the demigods Prajapati, Agni, Indra and
on the right and left sides of where the loins might be on the Shishumara chakra are the stars named Punarvasu and Pusya. Ardra and Aslesa are on its right and left feet, Abhijit and Uttara Sadha on its right and left nostrils, Shravana and Pursavadha are its right and left eyes, and Dhanishta and Mula are on its right and left ears. The 8 stars from Magha to Anuradha, which mark the southern course, are on the ribs of the left side of its body, and the 8 stars from Ragarisha to Purvabhadra, which mark the northern course, are on the ribs on the right side. Satabhisha and Jayeshtha are on the right and left shoulders.
On the upper chin of the Shishamata is Agasti, on its lower chin Yamarash, on its mouth Mars, on its genitals Saturn, on the back of its neck Jupiter, on its chest the Sun, and within the core of its heart Narayana. Within its mind is the moon, on its navel Venus, and on its breast the Ashwini Kumaras. Within its life air, which is known as Pranavana, is Mercury. On its neck is Rahu. All over its body are comets, and in its pores are the numerous stars.
My dear king, the body of Sisumara, as thus described, should be considered the external form of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Morning, noon, and evening, one should silently observe the form of the Lord as the Sisumara Chakra and worship him with the mantra. O Lord, who have assumed the form of the time, O, o resting place of all the planets moving in different orbits, O Master of all demigods, O Supreme Person, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you and meditate upon you.
Text 9. The body of the Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu, which forms the Shishumar Chakra, is the resting place of all demigods and all the stars and planets. One who chants this mantra to worship that Supreme Person 3 times a day, morning, noon, and evening, will surely be freed from all sinful reactions. If one simply offers his obeisances to his form or remember this form 3 times a day, all his recent sinful activities will be destroyed.
That's the chapter. So, this set of verses where Sukadeva Goswami is telling that to the pole star, all these planets are yoked as if a bull is tied to a pole where all the bulls are going around the rice. That's how they trashed the rice in the previous days. So that's how the planets are also revolving around the pole star. In the same verses, if you go back to Canto 4, chapter 9, text 20 to 21. We have read these verses, right? Okay, bull yoking to the thread, right? So go to the 4, 9, 20, 21 and read that translation of this.
4-9-20-21.
Yeah, this is spoken by the Lord and explained by Maitreya Muni to Vidura. This verse is spoken by the Lord Vishnu itself, 20 to 21. Can you read the translation?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead continued, My dear Dhruva, I shall award you the glowing planet known as the pole star, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution at the end of millennium. No one has ever ruled this planet, which is surrounded by all the solar systems, planets, and stars. All the luminaries in the sky circumambulate this planet, just as bulls thread around a central pole for the purpose of crushing grains. Keeping the pole star to their right, all the stars inhabited by the great sage like Dharma, Agni, Kashyapa, and Sukra circumambulate this planet, which continues to exist even after the dissolution of all other.
This same verse is repeated in verse 1 also here. So, what is spoken by Lord Vishnu is being repeated by Sukadeva Goswami again in this step. Validating that whatever Lord has approved, this is happening right now. And still these planets are, pole star is the pivot against which all the other planets are attached and revolving. So this gigantic form of this is the Virata Rupa form of the, all we are reading from that section where it's speaking about the Virata Rupa form of the Lord. It's the material body of the Lord. And it's important for us to understand because it is a creation. So what is the end result for doing this? By learning this kind of subject matter, we get appreciation for the creation of the Lord and love for the creator of this universe. So that's the ultimate goal for the devotee. To gain appreciation for the creation, because unless you appreciate something, you don't have value for that. And unless you have value for it, you won't appreciate it. And then from that appreciation, from that value that you are seeing, what comes? Service attitude develops, and from the service attitude, love develops. So that's the ultimate goal. So we cannot rub away these topics because these are very technical. We can understand and appreciate and see where we stand from the overall perspective, from the absolute position. Where do we stand? We are minute particles trying to become devotees of the Lord, and we can make our life perfect by knowing this. These subject matters are there in Bhagavatam. It's very important for us, but not that important that we get enamored by that energy. Our ultimate goal is not to be entangled in these technical details also. They are important to know as much as is required, but it is not that we get enamored by that and become stuck. Oh, how is this? How is that technical? There are people who are learning this. There are, if you see our Vedic planetarium in Mayapur is being built based on this knowledge from Srimad Bhagavatam. You will also see when it is in complete, and you will make when you visit Mayapur, you will be able to see that the planets, how as per Bhagavatam are being created. The planetarium is based on Bhagavatam description. So it is important so that we attract people to this knowledge. This is there in our Bhagavatam. It's not some planetary science or astronomy or something. It is based on the scripture. And it is important. For a devotee, it is important that this is energy of the Lord. And we pray to that energy because we want to overcome that energy. What Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7:14. Mama maya duratya mame vaye prapadyante maya metam tarantati. This supreme divine energy of mind, consisting of three modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome. But one who has surrendered to me can easily cross beyond it. So we need to pray to the Supreme Lord so that we can understand this. I mean, we don't have to understand it as, but we can cross over it. And when we cross over it, how that this entire creation, you can imagine like how many millions of yojanas we are talking, and they are very technical also. Like see, it's just we are at the talking of planetary system. So this is the view that we are getting, the front view of the universe. Then there is a top view that we have read last few weeks or days, Jambudvipa, with the reference to the orbit. That's a top view. When you look at the universe from the top, that's the view you get. The Jambudvipa is the middle Dvipa, and then this is again. It is again spoken in Canto 5th chapter, Canto only, text chapter 1, where Priyavrata Maharaj has created the tracks with his chariot. You would have read that. He dragged his chariot such a way that there were 7 tracks of land created and 7 oceans in between. The land, ocean, land, ocean. And this Jambudvipa is the middle portion of that land. And it is various, I don't remember all the technical details, but that's what it is. So it is important for us to know. And right now this particular chapter is a front view. When you look at it from the front. So one is the top, one is the front. So this view is the Sacimata planetary system, and we read it's like a dolphin. Sacimata is a dolphin in Sanskrit. And its body, the pole star is at the far end of its tail, through which all the other planets that we just read are revolving around it. They are locked and they are revolving. That's how the time energy moves. And what is that also important thing that Krishna said? The time is under the influence of this. Whereas Krishna says what in Bhagavad Gita? I am time, Krishna, and he has awarded that to his devotee. You can see that time is under Krishna, but he made time under the control of Dhruva Maharaj. That is the greatest benediction he has given him. That by doing devotional service for only 6 months, my small boy of 5 years old, he was given the highest benediction. And it is not impossible. But the austerities done by Dhruva Maharaj are impossible for us currently and time. But he did it, so he got Supreme Lord. He actually stopped the entire universe. People were not able to take breath, control the universe such a that they had to take breath. So they prayed to Lord Brahma said, Lord Vishnu, go, please do something. Lord Vishnu, okay, I'll award this boy whatever you want, let me not do such severe austerities. Right? So Krishna is very merciful. He will award devotees what they desire. But your devotional service is easy at the same time very hard. Any questions?
No.
So what to digest?
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Mataji, when like you see, first of all, that was pronounced beautiful class. Thank you so much. When Lord Krishna, he has such a big heart. He's giving up all this control. He's giving the highest benediction, right? He's like the guru of everything, and he's saying, okay, you do it. He's telling the devotee. So he's literally giving up control. For him, that's a cakewalk because he's of course Lord Krishna. But the point is that in our life, when we have to give up control in certain situations, and not do it with a begrudging attitude, like do it with the utmost love, like how Lord Krishna does it. Like how do you go about it?
Practice, right? Everything comes with practice. We have to start applying that to small things. It's not easy, like you said. These emotions are not easy to overcome. But with practice, understanding who is the Supreme, I am not the controller in any given situation. We try to control every situation according to our will. We want to control it. We can try, but we get a realization after some time, I am not the controller. I have to let it go. Let Krishna in. That's when things change. So this is just practice, and we are able to catch ourselves in the moment. We should be able to catch ourselves doing that. If you can do that, you're trying to get there. Because most of the time we do it and then we realize it at the end. We did it.
So second nature, yeah.
Yeah, we did it, then we realize, oh my God, I did it. Instead of that, we can catch us doing the act itself. And that comes with practice. That comes with sadhana. We need strength, not our own. Lord Krishna's strength. We need Guru's mercy. And their mercy has to flow in our life, so we can, once we do sadhana perfectly or according to the instructions given by Guru Sadhana Shastra, we get that strength to catch us in that moment when we are doing so. And then you will see that small time, one time if you realize, you get greatest realization. Isn't it? Even though it is a small thing, the realization you get is so much. You make the right volumes. And then you keep doing it. It may not happen every single time, but you can try. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Mataji.
That's good.
Yeah, Mataji, for Maharaj, it was so easy.
Was it easy?
Maharaj gave just one mantra, just chant this mantra only. He didn't have
Was it easy for you? Was it?
not easy, this didn't have to read scriptures and all. But I don't know, I feel like we made it so complicated for ourselves that we don't focus on one thing properly. And we keep on distracting ourselves in so many things altogether. What would you suggest?
Yeah, we do things while doing chanting. That is our main problem. We japa talk, we japa walk, we japa watch. So that's the problem. So if we can avoid those things, and japa means, recently I was hearing about Krishna Maharaj's, he was saying in Hindi. Hindi anybody knows?
Yeah, of course.
आप जब भी 16 माला करने को बैठेंगे तो 16 माला ही करिए और कुछ ना करिए. So he said whenever you are sitting down to chant 16 rounds, just chant the rounds, don't do anything else. So it's very profound. Got stuck with me for some time trying. But yeah, that's what we can do, and only chant when you're chanting. And thoughts will come. What does Krishna say? In Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, it's very hard to overcome this lust. But Abhyasa Yoga Yuktina, keep practice. Thought come, we ignore the thought, come back to chant, and then that struggle continues. With that struggle, purification happens.
I just wanted to say something about that. So, Vaisheshika, when he visited Canada, he made us stand like the march, like the tree pose, and he was mentioning that balance is not really about like staying in one place. It's all about correcting yourself. So, if you are like what my mom was saying about chanting, if you find yourself getting distracted, it's all about bringing yourself back. It's becoming distracted is kind of like it's gonna happen, but you just have to keep bringing yourself back, and it's just always about just balancing yourself. So if you find yourself drifting to one side, just pull yourself back.
Just like in yoga, you do right. When you do with one hand, you have to do the other hand. When you do on one side, you have to do the other side. Why? Because the body loses its balance. You need to always keep the body in balance. You do on one side, you have to do other side, so then it becomes balanced. So same thing. When we are too much getting distracted, we need to bring our back attention. Try. And then the balance is maintained. Yes, do.
Is it possible to see the Dhruv pole star?
Not with our naked eyes.
Yeah, but I think that like in India, people usually tell that this is Dhruv.
I know. Recently I heard one lecture where it was what Bhagavatam version and what the pole star that you see in the sky. Against the 7 planets you see a star. That's called Polaris. From the, from the current scientists, they have described it as Polaris. But that's not same as pole star. No, it's not the same. I wish I can send you a recording of that, why it is not seen. It's very technical, but I will try if I can. I'm able to share that. So it's a tutorial from Bhagavatam where they were talking about, is this the same as that? It is not.
So
It is not possible for us to see with our naked eyes. Only through Shastra Shakshu, only through the eyes of Srimad Bhagavatam, we can get access to that.
I just thought that Dhruv Maharaj's planet was the North Star, but that's not the case.
Again, this is what we were thinking all these times, that star that we see on the sky is same as Dhruva planet. It is not. Bhagavatam disproves that. Yes.
Is there any easy way to study fifth canto? Everything is very technical. And we just studied one verse from one chapter. So it's like.
I can get to the essence, right? What is the essence? Like at every end of every purport, what Prabhupada writes is, you can go through the various things, and then Prabhupada, what he drives home the point at the end. Every purport you see, Prabhupada drives home the point saying that Lord Krishna's Supreme Personality of Godhead, do Sankirtan Yajna, and the greatest yajna that you can do in this age and day is Sankirtan Yajna, distributing books, propagating the holy name of the Lord. That's what Prabhupada, even if you have seen any big purport, Prabhupada's purports, at the end that's the point he makes. So we need to look at it from the essence also. Reading is, we can read, we can understand the technical details. Like these nakshatras, in this chapter we read about the 28 nakshatras that we have, what are they called?
Anuradha.
The 28. On the right side of the dolphin, the left side are 14 are there, 14 are there. These are important, and again, these are very important in our, in the way, yesterday's class also, Sri Bhushan Prabhu was covering, these are important, these are there, this is science, right? This science is there, but Lord Krishna's supreme planet, Goloka Vrindavan, this is the highest planet above all these planetary, 14 planetary systems, right? And above the universe, and within such universes are so many, unlimited universes. We are only talking about our universe here. this creation, Bhagavatam, is based on our universe. There are other Bhagavatams which has got the topics of the other universe. And the Supreme Lord's planet, Krishna Loka, is beyond all these universes. So, from that perspective, we are trying to go to that planet, right? So these become insignificant. But we can understand them from that perspective. This is the Lord's creation, appreciate it, and develop the appreciation so that we can understand the Creator behind that. Creator is more important. Creation is also important. And we are targeting to go to the Creator. Right? So, from that perspective, it becomes important, but not get carried away from this technical detail also. How much on purpose Prabhupada gave? Very small purpose. So, out of the verses in this 9 verses, only one has a very biggest. We can read if you want that particular purport. Chapter, verse 3. 2 pages.
2 pages. Text 3?
Yeah, text 3 purport. And then the science calls it as the law of gravity. What is that law of gravity? It's Lord Shankarasana. Is at the end of the universe, holding the entire universe on his hooves. So that's law of gravity. That's Lord Shankarasana. Power. We call him that as law of gravity. Prabhupada refutes many of these theories, giving the Krishna conscious view of it. You can read that.
According to the description of this verse, the hundreds and thousands of stars and the great planets such as the Sun, the Moon, Venus, Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter are not clustered together because of the law of gravity or any similar idea of the modern science. These planets are stars, and stars are all servants of the Supreme Personality of God, Govinda, or Krishna. And according to his order, they sit in their chariots and travel in their respective orbits. The orbits in which they move are compared to machines given by material nature to the operating leads of stars and planets who carry out the orders of Supreme Personality of Godhead by revolving around Dhruva Loka, which is occupied by the great devotees, Maharaj Dhruva. This is confirmed in Brahma Samhita 5.52 as follows.
Yacchakshuresa savita sakala grananam Raja samasta suramudri ashesha teja Yasyadayam ramasam pranakara chakro Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
I worship Govinda, the primordial Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, under whose control even the sun, which is considered to be the eye of the Lord, rotates with the fixed orbit of eternal time. The sun is the king of all planetary systems and has 100 unlimited potencies in heat and light. This verse from Brahma Samhita confirms that even the largest and most powerful planet, the sun, rotates within a fixed orbit or Kala Chakra in obedience to the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This has nothing to do with gravity or any other imaginary laws created by material scientists. Material scientists want to avoid ruling government of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore they imagine different conditions under which they suppose the planets move. The only condition, however, is the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the various predominating deities of the planet are person and Supreme Personality, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also a person. The Supreme Personality orders the subordinate persons, the demigods of various means, to carry out His supreme will. This fact is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, wherein Krishna says,
हेतो नानेन कौन्तेय जगति परिवर्तते.
This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. The orbits of the planets resemble the bodies in which all living entities are seated because they are both machines controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 18.61,
Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshya janashati brahmaya sarva bhutani jnanagani mayaya.
the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of material energy. The machine given by material nature, whether the machine of the body or the machine of the orbit or Kala Chakra, works according to the orders given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead and material nature work together to maintain this great universe. Not only this universe, but also the millions of other universes beyond this one. The question of how the planets and stars are floating is also answered in this verse. It is not because of the laws of gravity. Rather, the planets and stars are enabled to float by manipulation of the air. It is due to such manipulations that big heavy clouds float and big eagles fly in the sky. Modern airplanes like the 747 jet aircraft work in similar way. By controlling the air, they float high in the sky, resisting the tendency to fall to earth. Such adjustments of the air are all made possible by the cooperation of the principles of Purusha, male, and Prakriti, female. By the cooperation of material nature, which is considered to be Prakriti, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is considered the Purusha, all the affairs of the universe are going on nicely in their proper order. Prakriti, material nature, is also described in the Brahma Samhita 5.44 as follows. The external potency Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the chit, spiritual potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda in accordance with those who will Durga conducts herself. Material nature, the external energy of the Supreme Lord, is also known as Durga, or the female energy that protects the great fort of this universe. The word Durga also means fort. This universe is like a great fort in which all the conditioned souls are kept, and they cannot leave it unless they are liberated by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord himself declares in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Thus, simply by Krishna consciousness, by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can be liberated, or in other words, one can be released from the great fort of this universe and go outside to the spiritual world. It is also significant that the predominating deities of even the greatest planets have been offered their exalted posts because of the very valuable pious activities they performed in previous births. This is indicated herein by the words karma nirmita gatayaha. For example, as we have previously discussed, the moon is called Jiva, which means that he is a living entity like us. Because of his pious activities, he has been appointed to his post as a moon god. Similarly, all the demigods are living entities who have been appointed in their various posts as the masters of the moon, the earth, Venus, and so on, because of their great service and pious acts. Only the predominating deity of the sun, Surya Narayan, is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maharaj Dhruva, the predominating deity of Dhruva Loka, is also a living entity. Thus, there are two kinds of entities: the supreme entity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the ordinary living entity, the Jiva. Nityo Nityanam Chaitana Chaitana, Katha Upanishad 2.13. All the demigods are engaged in the service of the Lord, and only by such an arrangement are the affairs of the universe going on. Somebody else might be.
Regarding the great eagles mentioned in this verse, it is understood that there are eagles so big that they can prey on big elephants. They fly so high that they can travel from one planet to another. They start flying in one planet and land in another, and while in flight, they lay eggs that hatch into other birds while falling through the air. In Sanskrit, such eagles are called sena. Under the present circumstances, of course, we cannot see such huge birds, but at least we know of eagles that can capture monkeys and then throw them down to kill and eat them. Similarly, it is understood that there are gigantic birds that can carry off elephants, kill them, and eat them. The two examples of the eagle and the cloud are sufficient to prove that flying and floating can be made possible through adjustments of the air. The planets, in a similar way, are floating because material nature adjusts the air according to the orders of the Supreme Lord. It could be said that these adjustments constitute the law of gravity, but in any case, one must accept that these laws are made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The so-called scientists have no control over them. The scientists can falsely, improperly declare that there is no God, but this is not a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Properly, everything here. Okay.
Very good. Thank you so much, Shataji, for a wonderful
I just have
share.
one last time. You want to open that slide again, Prabhu? The Dolphin and connection slide?
Why?
The slide you opened.
Why?
So as I can see over here, like this is what we are talking about, the dolphin connection. So by looking at the picture, I feel like it's a constellation or something, or it's just like, again, we cannot see it. It's just only, it can be seen by only like eyes of Bhagavata. Or is it a constellation?
Now this is what the Sushmara planetary system, what we just described. This is how it appears from the top view.
So we can see it, like it's a
We
constellation.
can't see right now where we are. This is the top view from the universe, on top of the universe.
I think Mataji, what he's asking is how do we have a picture and we can see it in the picture if it's not visible to our naked eye? Right?
This is a picture of dolphin, right?
No, it's
This is not real. They have just made this.
So it's just a descriptive picture.
Yeah, I'm just asking like if there is a constellation like that or not.
A constellation in the shape of a dolphin? We can look that up for you.
Well, I got my answer.
just now we read about the eagles catching elephants.
Wow.
I'll send you that recording. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the
Perfect.
wonderful
Thank
lecture,
you.
Madam.
Vansha, Kalpa,